Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome from Chicago. I'm Peggy with World Chicago. Excited to be here with my team. Looking forward to talking to you about the YTILI program today. We will ask you to rename yourself with your name and your country so we can see where you're from. It's always interesting for us to see who's represented with us today. So it's
Hello.
Hello. Good to see you. Welcome. Welcome. We'll get started with our presentation in just a minute and leave lots of times for questions. So I'm looking forward to sharing all of our YTILI knowledge with you. It's a great program and we've got some alumni here to talk about it today and our team. So looking forward to it. It is mid-morning in Chicago, bright and sunny day. And yesterday was the Super Bowl. So if you've heard of that, it meant most Americans were watching TV last night for a football game. It was a good game. It was fun, but we get a little tired or yawn. You know why. All right. We are recording today's session so that we can share it for anybody else who might have questions about YTILI. So, all right. So should we go ahead and get started, Jennifer? Sound good? All right. Well, again, welcome. I'm Peggy Parfenoff at World Chicago, and we are delighted to talk to you today about the Young Transatlantic Innovation Leaders Initiative Program, or YTILI as we call it. YTILI is a program that is funded by the U.S. government and sponsored by the U.S. Department of State, Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. World Chicago is the implementer of YTILI this year and in 2024 when you are looking to apply. We are looking forward to working with you on sharing information and tips about the application process today. I am joined by my team. Jennifer Dixon is our Managing Director of Programs. Gloria Llanos is a Program Manager with us. Kendra Cartali is another Program Manager with us. And John Wang is helping us out on YTILI as well. Our European partner is SEED Slovenia, and Alja Gashek is our partner in SEED. And she'll help us with questions and answers later in the program. And she is available, and her team is available throughout the next month to answer questions about the application process and any questions you might have about it. So they are your first go-tos for the application. And then finally, we're also joined by Tieta. I am one of our alumni. So she has participated in the YTILI program, and we will bring her on the screen to talk with us about her experience on YTILI, so you can hear from her later in the program. So if you would like to start sharing the screen, John, we will start our presentation and look forward to sharing with you today. So again, as mentioned, this program is sponsored by the U.S. Department of State and funding by the U.S. government and supported by World Chicago. So our group from last year. And next slide. So today we are going to do introductions. We already did that. We're going to talk about what is YTILI, talk about the application itself and provide some tips in filling it out. We'll talk with Tieta Shaheed about her experience, and then we will open it up for questions and answers. So moving on. And we know you will have questions throughout the presentation. So please feel free to put them in the chat, and we will circle back around at the end when we open it up for questions. So don't be shy, just go ahead and type it in the chat, and then in the end we will go through and answer all the questions. So great to see you all today. First of all, so what's the goals of YTILI, and why would you do this program? YTILI is structured to help build mutual understanding between Europe and all the countries in Europe and the United States. And it builds this transatlantic partnership, and it does it through the framework of entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is something that is a risky venture, but it provides a good opportunity for exchange and for building these partnerships. and for building partnerships between businesses. It is a program for young entrepreneurs and with 2 years of experience, but it really helps develop their leadership skills and their entrepreneurial skills. And this program is doing it by experiential learning, by being immersed in a company in the United States that's in the same sector, and really allowing the YTILI Fellow to learn how entrepreneurship and business is done in the US. So when they're continuing to build these transatlantic partnerships, they have a better understanding of the two cultures. It is continued sustained professional development. We encourage our fellows to remain in touch with their organizations and continue to build relationships with US companies as well as companies throughout Europe with the cohort that you meet. The group that you're in allows you access to 59 other fellows throughout Europe. So we know there's network building not only in the US, but also within Europe. And finally, it is a program that has a strong alumni network and an alumni board. They continue to get together and they have access to each other because of their experience on the YTILI program. And we've seen the benefit from doing that. And we've seen people really able to grow their companies, improve their business because of their participation in YTILI, but also be leaders and impact the entrepreneurial community back home in their home country. So we've seen the benefits of the program and are happy to share more about it today. All right, moving on. So what does YTILI look like? YTILI is a fully funded 5-week program in the United States. It starts with an opening for 3 days in Chicago, and then you go to one of 9, what we call our innovation hub cities, one of 9 cities across the US. And you are placed then in a fellowship, which means you will have one company that you go to every day, and you're immersed in that company. You're part of the team, you're working on projects with that company, and you're really learning from your experience by being part of a startup in the United States. Then after 4 weeks in the Innovation Hub City, we all gather back together in Washington, D.C. for our closing, where we have exposure with Department of State, fellows, program officers, officials, as well as seeing the entrepreneurial environment in DC. We start out the program with a virtual component. So at the beginning of the year, before travel happens, we do an online curriculum that happens once a month for about 2 hours, where we have experts from the US working with our partner DePaul University in Chicago, talk about their experience in entrepreneurship, provide advice on financing, provide kind of a framework for what you'll be coming into in your program with YTILI. And then post-program, we talk about adapting your experience back to Europe and how you take back what you learned to your country. And then the program doesn't end there. We have the opportunity for some of the American host organizations, so the companies that host fellows, to travel back to your country and spend a week with you helping improve your action plan. So all of our fellows are working on a plan to help improve the community and the entrepreneurial environment in their country, their region, and their business. Moving on. So the fellowship, what it looks like during the day. So again, opening in Chicago, but then you're in your Innovation Hub City, which are cities that have strong entrepreneurial communities within Chicago or within the United States, not San Francisco, but smaller communities that are really have thriving entrepreneurial sectors. Monday through Thursday, you are getting up and going to work in your fellowship. You were part of the team. You are participating like you were a member of the staff for 4 weeks. So you will be at your fellowship for Monday through Thursday. And then on Friday, we have continued curriculum as well as other site visits and exposure to the entrepreneurial community in the city that you're placed in your Innovation Hub City. We do have a pitch competition as a part of the program, so you get experience sharing your story. And one of the biggest benefits is the networking. So you might be working from 9 to 5, but there are activities, evening events around the entrepreneurship community in all of our cities. And you're attending, meeting people, having coffees, and really building your network through this YTILI program. On the weekends, you might spend time doing a volunteer activity as a group, and you'll meet some Americans, have dinner in their home, and have the chance to see how Americans really live. And the entrepreneurship curriculum, as we touched on, virtual once a month, and it really provides that baseline. So, but a great way for people to get to know each other virtually and start to experience the entrepreneurial culture before they come to Chicago for the opening program. I will now turn it over to Jennifer to talk about the application. So thank you for those who are putting questions in. Continue.
Yes, so again, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning here in Chicago. So we'll talk through a little bit of the eligibility and then the application component. So as you can see here, you do need to be a resident and citizen of one of the 49 eligible countries. You can see those clearly on the YTILI website. And then by March 24th of this year, you need to be between the ages of 25 and 35 on that day by the time the application closes. We are looking for people to have 2 years of successful entrepreneurial experience in the venture for which they are applying. You cannot be a US citizen or resident. And you need to be eligible to receive a J1 visa. That is the visa specific to the YTILI program that you would, if selected for the fellowship, that you would come over to the US on. When you are in the portal, you can download the application in advance as a PDF to kind of look through the components that you'll see on the right hand of the screen here. There are short answer questions, your personal statement. We would like you to upload your resume, your CV, at least one letter of recommendation. We do get folks that have done up to 4, I think, or maybe have capacity for 3, but only at least 1 is required. You will need to be proficient in the English language for the YTILI Fellowship. And then we'll be asking some questions about the background of your business profile, and as much detail about that particular venture, again, for which you are applying, that you can include is very helpful to us as we start to screen the applications. So next slide. So what makes a successful application? What makes a strong YTILI applicant? A few tips we have for you. These are not exhaustive, but these are some of the common things that we do see. Be intentional about why you are applying for YTILI. How will this benefit not just your business, but how will it benefit your entrepreneurial community back in your home community or country? Think about your specific career. Why do you need this right now for your business? Why is YTILI just the thing that you're looking for to improve and enhance your business venture? Please be sure that as you're procuring your letters of recommendation, that your recommenders are recommending you specifically for the YTILI Fellowship, not for previous employment, not for a general job opportunity, not for continuing education. The letter of recommendation should speak to specifically why they think you would be a strong YTILI applicant. So definitely send those recommenders over to the YTILI website so that they can understand what this program is about and talk with them about it before they submit that to you. And then we are also looking for leaders within your community. And as I mentioned previously, how is this opportunity going to benefit you as a leader in bringing it back to your community, not just within your country, but all the other entrepreneurs that you know. Maybe you know somebody who is too young right now to be a YTILI fellow or to apply, or missed the opportunity, or is just not able to participate, but maybe they can glean some benefit from your having been in that, been selected as a fellow. Those are some things to think about. Then for those of you who are serial entrepreneurs, we are so excited to have you apply. We recognize that very much is a thing, and we are often looking at a variety of ventures. However, when you apply to YTILI, you need to select that one venture that you want to focus on for YTILI. That will better help us, if you're selected, to match you to your fellowship host. It's very difficult. You can talk about all the other things that you do if you're selected and once you're here, but we really want you to focus on the one venture that is of greatest importance to you. And And then just remember, there is no perfect applicant. You are all different. This year we have 60 fellows. They all bring unique experiences while they share entrepreneurship and social innovation in common. All those perspectives lend themselves so well just to the cohort overall, that intra-cohort connection. So definitely put your strong foot forward. Don't worry about anyone to the left or the right of you think is doing, and tell us about you and your venture. And we're really looking forward to reading your applications in the coming weeks. All right, Peggy, I'll hand it back to you.
Great, thank you, Jennifer. Now I'm delighted to introduce Tieda Shehi, who is a 2016 fellow from Albania. And she's at the, as you can see, her title is listed here. And Tieda, please join us. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure, to share my experience with everybody who is delighted to participate in this program.
Excellent. Well, let's start out. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I was one of the first fellow of the first year ever of YTILI that the State Department started as an initiative.
So it was a new program and you took a chance on it. Why did you apply for YTILI? Tell us about that.
Yes, I will just phrase it in 3 or 2 sentences. At that time, the U.S. Department invited several of us and asked us questions. And I remember it was like this: do you, the entrepreneur of a country like Albania, to meet other entrepreneurs of the European country and be placed in another environment in the US and find out how can you improve your entrepreneurial activity? And at that moment, my why became a big yes. And that's why I decided to apply there. And then I was selected. And I participated to the program, which was an amazing experience. So this is why I participated there. That guy at the US Embassy was very nice and he was very smart. And in 2 sentences, he made us, let's say, apply to this program. So I think this is going to be a why to everybody who wants to apply.
And how has the experience impacted you now? When you look back, what did you take from it and how have you applied it to your career?
Well, it's interesting because I have been part of this kind of exchange program in the Balkans and in Europe, but it was a different thing because we were together with people from European countries, but we were placed in US and we participated in different pitching events, in different entrepreneurial environment, which helped us understand how in the US they have started let's say, these innovation hubs and how they do believe to continue. And it helped us to understand that what we can improve in our country. And several of my cohorts and me too have been there several times in US and exchange experience with people there. But also I had the chance to be part of the US Embassy here activities, also to be part of a peer review person during the different of YTILI same program of the United States. So I was selected and asked to participate in this peer review program for the application. So it was a multi-dimension, let's say, after activity or after experience opportunities for me.
Excellent. So it sounds like you really built your network through the YTILI program.
Yes. And now I'm part of the YTILI board, so alumni board. So
and it continues. That's great to hear.
Yes, it continues. I'm the vice president. So
and if you think back to the application process, what was the most challenging part of the application process for you?
Well, the application process, when I read the first time the application, I believe it has changed during years because things have improved. But at the moment when I opened the application, for me it was like you should write a project proposal for yourself. And I sat there and I said, okay, I'm gonna write something for myself for my upcoming weeks in the US, and I'm gonna see whether I'm gonna nail it or not. So it was a challenge, But at the meantime, the questions were organized in a way that they help to explore yourself and to better express your experience in a white paper. So this is
excellent. And now we ask for program goals and project goals, so it helps us understand better why everyone is applying. So great,
Yes.
Thank you. Who did you ask for letters of recommendation, and how did you select those people?
Well, at that time, we were not asked to have a letter of recommendation. We were asked to have references.
Okay.
So,
Excellent.
I put references from my university where I teach. I put references from my business and from my, let's say, cohorts at my activity, or let's say, entrepreneurial activity that I had that time. So this
you
was
really
the setup.
looked
Now,
within your circle of influence
yes,
back home.
yes.
Right.
And we were required
Excellent.
to put references there, so contacts and everything. So
Nice. Excellent. And what would you say to those who are still hesitant to apply about YTILI, about the experience?
I will, because I've done several applications for the US Department, and they are very interesting. First of all, I would like to say to everybody, you just try and apply and be serious about it, because it helps you a lot to let's say, develop your skills of writing, of understanding yourself, and of expressing better what you want to do. Whether you will take it or not, it will help you for other applications. So first of all is a challenge with yourself. And then after that is something that you need to try, because it's a wonderful experience. So, I mean, 5 weeks spent there, and before activities and after activities of the program are really a good chance for you to explore yourself and to find something else that you never thought it existed, and you can embrace it in the best way.
Excellent. I've heard many times fellows say, our alumni say, that some of the best part of the experience was learning the US business culture and entrepreneurial mindset, but also stepping away from your company. So you're able to put perspective on it and see if you need to change paths, if you need to make any changes within your company. So that is great to know. Excellent. So any last words, Tata, before we go into questions?
I would encourage to everyone to participate in a lot of pitching events in the US, because at that time we participated in pitching events organized by American citizens, but also by people from Africa or Asia who wants to sell their product in the US environment. So it's very interesting, and it helps you a lot to tailor your skills, because in 1 minute you should sell your product, and that's the deal. And if you achieve that, then you're good in your entrepreneurial activities. So it was very interesting, and we had a lot of bilateral activities. Plus, I was placed in the city of innovation, so I was full of this kind of pitching events.
Excellent. And we know that even if people are not pitching for money directly, you're always going to need something and some buy-in in your business. You're going to need contacts, you're going to need connections, you're going to need something. So being able to tell your story concisely is a really valuable skill to practice and to learn.
That was the interesting part, how they tell the story, how they sell their product. So where do they start? From the beginning, or from the end, or from the middle, and they go to the end. So it was very interesting. So
excellent.
That's a good exercise.
A skill you can always use. So wonderful. Well, thank you, Jada. We're going to open it up to questions and answers. So continue to put them in the chat, or you're welcome to raise your hand if you'd like. Maybe we can go back to gallery view and ask Jennifer, you want to take the first question?
Sure. Yes. Success. I love this question. I was going to take a question from the chat, if that's okay, about success. You know, I think success is subjective. And one of the things that I think that we would say is we want to see you at some point implementing, working on some component of your business plan. If your entrepreneurial venture is still more of a goal, and you're looking to YTILI to start it off, that would be a little bit premature. So we'd want you to have some traction, probably a year or two. Now you can be a startup through a growth stage, that's fine. But we'd want to see you putting into practicality, putting into reality some component of what would be the business plan for your particular venture. And that was what we would want to look at versus as it just being in the concept stage. You need to be beyond the concept stage.
Excellent. Thank you, Jennifer. Alia, do you want to join us with some questions?
And I think that Sophia raised a hand. So Sophia,
Excellent.
can you join us maybe on video or just share your question, and we'd be happy to support you.
I am coming, absolutely coming. I was not expecting that I will be asking questions, but apparently I get to ask a question.
Cool.
But it was kind of answered actually, because my question was going to be about redefining success, because the current venture that I am building from the ground up is actually like a phoenix, which was only possible because I went through suicidal depression, and the thing I was working on before evolved into what I'm doing now. So my question was going to be about redefining success, because I believe that I should apply, but I was not sure if I would qualify.
Excellent. So yeah, again, to reiterate what Jennifer said, having put your business into place. So not just the idea stage, but actually working in the business, you know, working to grow the company is really for 2 years is what we want to see in your program. So, and we've had our fellows in our cohorts range from small companies to larger, mid-sized, small to medium companies. So it's a range and a range of fields. So it sounds like you're in the right place. Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have used creativity to turn pain into power, and going through this suicidal depression is what allowed me to do what I'm doing. So I'm excited to tell a strange story, but I think a meaningful one.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
it sounds impactful. Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you.
So we have 3 new hands raised, but I do have a question that was in the chat from Max, and I feel like it's an important question, you know, because Max says that are there any exceptions to the citizenship requirement? Example, I'm a citizen of Israel, but have businesses in Lithuania and Belarus, and have lived here for 15 years. We know this kind of questions arise all the time. You know, I'm living in one country. You know, I have a citizen in another. So can you maybe address a larger set of questions regarding that, please, Peggy and Jennifer?
Yeah. Jennifer, do you want to take that?
Sure. Citizenship. So I feel like there's 2 answers to this. One, unfortunately, no, you do need to be a citizen of one of the eligible countries. In certain instances, if you are a citizen of one country and operating your business in another, there are rare exceptions where we will look at that, but optimally everybody will be living and working and running their business from the same location.
We do encourage you, Max, to look at the U.S. Embassy in Israel for other programs and other opportunities, but this is limited to Citizens Bureau. So thank you.
Thanks for the explanation.
Oh, thanks, Max. we asked you instead of you. So now we have Krista. Krista, would you be next? Would you ask the question? No, thanks for showing up.
Yes,
With the video.
hello. Yes, hello. Thank you for the opportunity. My question is more related with a partnering organization. So I have a social enterprise. Our main services are education. So we provide workshops on and educational processes on project management, service design, organizational development. So we cover a lot of fields, but our focus is on the social field. So my question is, if you have like fixed partners that could be a potential match with me, so I could know a little bit more with whom, if I'm selected, could be matched, or if, I don't know, throughout the timeline, we'll know a little bit more. So any information could be viable at this point.
Sure.
Thank you.
We do not have a set of fixed partners. We find a fellowship for each fellow that is selected. Each finalist gets their match that can as closely provide the same. We look for people in the same sector. So we look for somebody in social enterprise or with an education in the education field for you. And we do introduce the fellows to their host before they arrive, so they have a chance to understand the business, understand each other. And are able to jump into their fellowship and start from the ground up. So, so you aren't matched until later in the experience, but we do find a special match for each person. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Peggy. Tigran, you're next on my screen. So, hi.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for this Ask Me Anything session. I have a question related to the application process. So I was born in June 1997, and by the deadline, I'm 25, but there is a restriction that I need to be 25, and the program is not allowing me to continue my application. How can I handle this?
I am going to suggest you email us at YTILI info so that we can help you, and I'll ask the World Chicago team to capture Tigran's information and reach out to us at and actually, if you can drop the YTILI info email in the chat, that'll be helpful, and we'll see if we can help you troubleshoot.
Can you please tell me again the email, or just put it on chat?
I think one of the team is going to drop it in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, thanks, Tigran. Turgut, would you love to be the next one to ask the question? Hi.
Hi, everyone. First of all,
hi.
So I'm going to ask some questions about the application form. First of all, I don't own a company, so I'm a single, and I'm an individual entrepreneur now. But in the application form, I see that currently registered documents related to my work and my company are requested. In this part, what should I do now? I don't know. I don't have any idea about that.
Well, even as a sole proprietor, you have a company, even if it's your name, right? So that is what you would list as your company and the services you provide. So that's how you should address it, as though your work you're doing is your company. So good question. Thank you, Turgut.
Thank you very much. So I understood that I can write my old company too, and there's not important about that, because no.
We'll want to know your former company and what you did, but if you were applying as an entrepreneur, we need you to apply with the entrepreneurial company that you started and have that be your main business that you're looking to impact with the fellowship program.
Thank you very much for the answers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Turgut. And Recep, you're next. Please join us.
Yes, hello. I'm happy to see you and ask you. My question is, do you have specific choice of entrepreneurial businesses, such as tech, engineering, or etc., innovation things? Or do you have, or you encourage the traditional type of businesses, such as law office, media company, or a simple cafe? I wonder this question, and I wonder your answer.
Jennifer, you want to take that one?
Sure. The answer is yes to everything you have listed. Yes. So we have entrepreneurs, social innovators. Everything that you listed would be, we have ventures. We've had everyone from a rocket scientist to a wine connoisseur, to somebody who teaches cooking to children, to translating books from English to their country's language. So we really see a wide scope and breadth of entrepreneurial ventures. So, and it's part of, I think, the exciting part that isn't, while there are industries, they're not specifically defined. I will, in that narrow sense, but I will say sometimes we do have folks who apply where maybe their venture or their industry sort of touches upon 2 industries or 3, like a few. If you can narrow down to where you think that would be. So for example, we have somebody now who has an app for a health and fitness company, to have health and fitness, to have companies, health clubs check their people in. We had to connect with that fellow to really say, do you really see yourself more on the tech and app side or on the health and fitness side? And we'll still be able to blend a curated experience for that because it does do both, but that just helped us refine where we would look for an optimal fellowship placement for that individual. So hopefully that answers your question.
See, that is what I want to hear, and admitted it was a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you, Andranik. I see you raised your hand. If you can join us maybe on the video if you would like, or just share the question with us, please.
So my question is related, my business idea is related to heavy manufacturing, and I want to understand about this opportunity because I look at the previous followers and contact for few of them and ask questions. And my idea is have the project will support this kind of idea that related to heavy manufacturing process.
Oh, heavy manufacturing.
Yes.
Yeah, as Jennifer said, we are open to heavy manufacturing. That's absolutely an industry that can be supported, as long as it's your startup, as long as you started the company.
Yes, because I'm alone. I have idea. I'm now in the process of development, and the idea for applying the project to help understand how to grow in the idea.
Great, and we do want to see the company though is not just an idea, but has started and you have had 2 years of experience with that, because we find that's when the program is able to make the most impact.
And also just one thing I want to understand, for example, I'm a machine learning engineer, but my idea is related to the manufacturing. So is it how conflicting each other, or it is good from application perspective?
Nope, that sounds great. That sounds like you're applying your skills in a sector of need. So that all sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you for your answers.
Wonderful, thank you, Andranik. So I do have a question for you, for Jennifer and Peggy. I was thinking, can you share one story, of a fellow from 2022, so the recent fellow, like the biggest business or personal result or goal, that he achieved through the program, and that you would love to share with us, so it's kind of recent, maybe one or two,
Jennifer, you want to kick that off?
I know.
I'm sort of torn. I think one that we do talk about, because as we all know from the last few years is sometimes life interrupts and things don't go as we planned. We did have a fellow last year, Pier Giorgio from Italy, who went for his COVID testing to board his plane and came up positive. So his time in the US was delayed by a week, and he it did not slow him down. We managed to adapt him virtually for the first week, and every component of the opening right into his Innovation Hub City, he showed up for every meeting online, virtually, picked up at the airport, came in. He ended up winning the local pitch competition in his city, at the group competition in DC at the closing. He won that. His fellowship host went on a reciprocal exchange. I mean, I feel like, many of us would have been like just so defeated by that awkward start to just this opportunity, really for many of a lifetime. And it didn't sway him at all. And so I think that was really inspirational to see. I think just not even for us as implementing YTILI, but for all the fellows that were part of his cohort, it was just, he did not lose a beat no matter where he was. So that's one of my stories. I have one other, but maybe it's Peggy.
Well, I was going to say there's Andrea from Romania who had a really positive fellowship. She really learned a lot from her fellowship host. And he also did a reciprocal visit. So he came over to spend a week with her in Romania, and they are continuing to work together. So you see them applying for new grants to bring new products to the market, and they are able to impact both communities where she stayed in the US as well as back home. So it was great to see that long-term relationship develop.
Wonderful. Teda, you would say the same, right? I hear that, people, from YTILI, from 2016, they're still connected to their mentors, they're still connected to the network, I feel like, can you share maybe, can everyone share,
Yes,
the YTILI
we,
network is like bringing,
yes.
you know, is now happening. And I feel like, you know, how I see the program, you know, I've been part of another program, you know, but you come in, you know, and you get the network of 45 different European founders, you know, and this is like, you know, if you're not even thinking, you know, if you want to go to US, you know, and learn and develop your company and get the know-how, but then, you know, if you want to like do a step forward, you know, you want to like expand your business to a foreign country, you know, to another country, or I don't know. It's like, it's so
Yes.
beneficial. I feel like, can you share more, you know, how are you connected?
Yes, at that time, there was a guy from Switzerland, Christian. He went back to his country because his wife had given birth for 1 week. Then he came back, and then together with 2 other cohorts, they started a new entrepreneurial activity back in Europe. And then they organized an activity where several of cohorts participated after the program. And it was very amazing because he was, yes, I went back for 1 week and I came back, but it's a very long way. So from US to Europe, and he was very willing to continue, and it was very inspirational. Plus, we had another chance, all of us, to be back again in San Francisco to the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. When we did the pitching for each of the cities, so we were able to be tested by our organizers, how we went during the time that we spent in the, let's say, Innovation Hub cities. And it was very interesting because each of the cities has their own pitching, telling their stories. So we did a presentation, so it's a fun part there. But it was very inspirational, and also other people from my year, several times they met in Europe. I didn't have the chance. And there was a girl from Hungary who is very, very popular for doing pancakes in a city. And she's very popular, and she has won many awards. So, I mean, these are inspirational stories. So, I mean, and also I have a guy, he was a fireman, and he was working, because people are keeping asking here what kind of entrepreneurial activity we can apply, everything. He was a fireman, he was dedicated to his job, but also he has a green program, very dedicated on environmental issues. So there were really different types of human stories, and that you find there in an environment that you would never thought you would. So very interesting.
Interesting. Thanks, Teda. So we have another question from Tim. So could you please tell a couple of words about the application review and selection process? This is a thing that we haven't answered.
Yeah,
Peggy, Jennifer,
great question, Tim. Thank you. Yes, the applications, we receive them all in, we check them for make sure you are in fact eligible and living in the right countries and fit all the criteria. And then we send them to peer reviewers. So these are experienced professionals from business, from entrepreneurship, throughout the United States. And they will review the applications and rank them against the criteria that is listed on the application. So are they showing leadership? Have they committed this? Do they have the drive to part and the ability to succeed in the YTILI program? And so the applications then are ranked, and interviews happen after that. So we do a virtual interview along with World Chicago teams and US Embassy teams. And following the interviews, then finalists are selected and alternates are selected. Do know we often have a finalist who might be ready to participate in the program, and something happens, life happens, and so alternates get moved up. And I see the second half says, is it okay if they apply again? Please do. We really look to see that. We want to see that you're really interested and dedicated in the program, and that you really feel you'll gain a lot out of it. So many of our fellows that we have coming this spring have applied multiple times, and this was the right time. Their company's the right place, and they succeeded in the application. So definitely apply again. Thank you.
And Peggy, if I can add too, If you applied, say on February 1, when the application opened, wonderful. Please know the process that Peggy just talked you through does not begin until after the application closes March 24th. So it is after the application closes that peer reviewing process begins. So thank you for getting it in early, definitely. But know that we still have some time to go before we start pushing the applications through the vetting process.
Yes, that's a great point, Jennifer. Thank you. And in fact, our finalists are notified in the summer. So it is a process that does take a while to get through, but it works and gets us great fellows.
Thank you, Peggy and Jennifer. We have another question from Grigoris Nitas from Greece. An interesting question we always get asked: what are there any limitations or preferences, for the recommendation letters? So where can you get the recommendation letter, like from whom? Yeah, for example, he mentioned industry, academia, military. If you can share more about that, please.
Yes, they're all able to be references for you. Again, the key thing is they need to be talking about why YTILI is important for you, why you are a good fit for YTILI. So not about your military experience unless it relates somehow to the YTILI process. So that would be the key. It can't be broad and vague. It needs to be very specific as to why Jennifer Dixon should be participate and be selected as a YTILI fellow.
And you accept up to 3, right? We should mention that as well. So cool. Do we have time for another question, or how we're running? Yeah. Maybe vaccination. It's a question that arises a lot, especially in our email and customer support. So do I need to be vaccinated for COVID to attend the YTILI program?
We strongly recommend vaccination, and that's because many U.S. companies are requiring their staff to be vaccinated, and they won't allow somebody in the building who is unvaccinated. So we have to look at what our fellowship hosts require, and vaccination is strongly recommended for the program. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Did
thank you.
Adonik have a new, is this a new question, or is the hand still up? I wasn't sure.
No, it's still Adranik. The hand is still up,
Oh, okay.
And I cannot remove it. So, we talked about obtaining a US visa. You have to be eligible for that, but the question is, will support be provided for that? It will, right? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, we walk you through the process in partnership with the embassies for you to get your visa. And it is a J1 visa. There is information about what the requirements are for that on the website. So
cool. And how do you select, 1, 2, 3 people from, from each Europe? There's, I believe, 60 seats.
Yeah, so there are 60 fellowship slots for each cohort, and there are 49 eligible countries. And so we end up selecting at least 1 fellow from each country. And in some cases, there's 2 if there's additional slots available, because with 49, there's still a few extras. So definitely we have at least 1 from each country.
Thank you. And can I have at least one question? I love this one, I get it every day. How hard it is to get in?
Well,
it's a really cool question, Yeah.
Yeah. When you only have one finalist from the entire country, you're competing. It's competitive, but we want to see that you have the leadership skills to succeed in the program. So it's competitive, but it's also a really great experience, and you definitely won't get in if you don't apply. So
and we'll be here during the process, so if anyone needs anything, we're here.
So I think with that, if we want to put up our last slide, we have some additional information to share. Thank you, Alia, for walking us through those questions. And again, please reach out to Alia at Seed Slovenia, or reach out to the info email, so that you can get your questions, any specific questions you have about your particular situation. Feel free to send those in email, and we'll be having some more upcoming events and webinars, February 23 and March 15th. But also please follow us on your social media. Start your application today. And remember that we will, the application will close on the 24th of March. So anything else? Any last words, Jennifer?
Yeah, we're announcing the fellows this summer, 2023, for the 2024 fellowship. So the last bullet point we will fix.
So thank you again for being here today,
Thank
for
you,
considering YTILI. We encourage you to apply and look forward to reading your application. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a
Thank you.
Have a
day.
great
Bye.
evening.
Great to see you.
Yeah, it was wonderful to
Bye.
see such a diverse group, right?
I know, from all over. That's great.
And I
Thank
loved,
you.
that everyone actually, came on with a video, and then
Yeah,
making this
and then
really a
answer
personal
questions.